We have to start realizing that responsibility and change is only going to happen from ourselves. Um, don't expect that it's just going to come from either the legal state. The legal state is just static when it comes down to anything that is going on in their jurisdiction affecting you, because it's you affecting the other jurisdiction that causes the problem. There's cause and effect. And so the minute that we've gone into confusion, we have to realize we're really the author of that. It is not God, and it's not the state, even though the state may be in an inducement for you to enter into confusion. It's basically going to be your actions, which will speak louder than words. And many times it ends up just going even further than just speech. It goes into actually writing, consenting, taking a picture, all those things that are part of a system that says you're in our membership sandbox of legal or civil. So I put on here, throw evil out of your temple, because it has a lot to do with even the previous video that we talked about, the sanctuary and the temple. And you are the temple of God, and his spirit dwells in you. But is the spirit really dwelling in you if you're allowing yourself to have evil mingled or commingled with you in your temple? So we have to really cast that out, get it out of there. So I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 14:33, because we have to go to where the responsibility is, where the confusion is coming from at this point. Even though it has been placed out there, there'll always be offers to do something evil, but it's whether or not we consent to enter into that. So 1 Corinthians 14, verse 33 reads, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints." Now, when we go to the birth records, we realize too the parents were in confusion because they tried to enter something in on a document record, but at least fortunately the lines were separated. Okay, and it cannot harm a child because a child can't enter into any legal civil contract, even though it seems to kind of insinuate that, but it's not really happening. It's just on the surface. It hasn't occurred because the child can't enter the contract nor execute the contract nor be in a contract while they're a minor, so they're protected. And so therefore we can understand why a child will enter the kingdom of God, because we were pure before we got confused. So when we became an adult, which is public, and we mixed in what was privately not the state's property, the legal state, the secular state, and mingled in what was a gift from God and merged it in by consent and being confused, and then entered into the legal world, we basically consented to the merger and the confusion that is now affecting us. So we're, of course, we know that all this occurs from that. But when you go into the words that actually happen on the request to even get, this is a form that's a request in Ontario, Canada. It's a request to get a birth certificate. And remember that the birth certificate is not the form that the parents filled in at the hospital. The birth certificate is something completely separate, and that's the instrument that's mainly used worldwide in the different secular jurisdictions to be involved in what we call commerce and trade and enter into a secular society. The birth record that the parents filled in certainly aids and abets the problem, because without them putting in the given name and the surname on that document, there would be no possible way they could create a birth certificate, because they need the given name as part of the ambiguous certificate that is issued and used in that world for that trade and commerce, and as a version of a name that we act as a surety for. So just as the name on the document would read, if the party would think their name to be John Smith in merger, it would come out Smith, John on the docket at the court. Someone's just walking in to be surety for the version of that name. Don't be confused on what's going on. They didn't run out of ink on the docket, nor did they run out of ink on the little wallet-sized certificates that are mainly issued. So when we go to the request, it has a very interesting part here that will definitely make you understand that it was your parents in confusion that may have placed and divulged your gift from God into the secular state form, but the form to actually get the certificate, which is completely different, this is the wording that is on the request form for the applicant. I authorize the Office of the Registrar General to issue the requested documentation / information, which is dealing with the registration last name, the civil name, information in the arms army. And then it says, and consent to the Ministry of Government Services. Now consent has come in. Collecting, well, we know legal means to collect. It's the etymology of the word. Information, now we're back into the army part, the information, the arms, about myself and the person named on the birth certificate. Now you got two different entities going on, okay? If other than myself, in brackets, from the guarantor of such other sources as may be necessary. Now they always need a guarantor, so now you have to step in and get someone else that's in the license world of what is public practicers, such as public notaries, lawyers, doctors. They're guarantors because they guarantor they knew you using the version of the name for 2 years, which is just insane in itself, and that gets you in the game. So you even need to step into another party that's already in the problem to get them to verify that they see you in the problem, in the confusion. So they start off with that you're authorizing the confusion here because you don't know who you are. So you're asking to be, or you're requesting to be known as a legal citizen. And therefore, they will collect what has been placed down there that usually would lead to the consent to have one of these issued to you. And now you're part of the suing for it because now you're an issue of the legal system and you're suing to be known by that name. So you have no proof that it's you have title to it. You're just assuming you do. And therefore you're claiming what is the state when it's not yours. It's not your legal title because you're a stranger to the contract spiritually. And therefore you're suing every single time you go and try to claim that name because he who affirms must prove. And so they go, well, the guy showed up. We don't need to prove anything on our part anymore from the legal side of the prosecutor, even in the court. And therefore you just said, I'll pay the ticket. I'll pay for what it is because I'm claiming a title that doesn't belong to me because I'm entitled to a title that's not mine. So you can understand where the confusion comes in. So you need to realize that you're the only one that can throw that evil out. The next little video we're going to do is just dealing with what is a Christian, and you'll see the difference. And you'll understand the terms that led you into an adulterous position with the state, committing adultery. See James chapter 4, dealing with ye adulterers and adulteresses. Know ye not that he who basically is a friend of the world basically makes himself an enemy of God. So have you become adulterous entering the state as a third party in your covenant with God? Let's follow the dots. Let's join the dots on all this because we have a number of videos that were previous to this that actually lead to what we've been saying in this video, which should be bringing further clarification for you.